Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I'd like to welcome you, dear viewers, to another in our series, In the Light of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The Lord's peace and blessings be on each and every one of you. In this segment of our program, we will be looking at some questions which have been faxed in to me, as well as some questions from the internet. The first question is a letter faxed to me from Pakistan, from Dr. Ahmed Khan. He writes, "Dear brother, Assalamu alaikum. I'm a keen reader of your books. The latest book that I am reading is Exorcist Tradition in Islam, and it has direct relevance to me. My daughter showed erratic, abnormal behavior while I was away from the country 2 weeks ago. She was diagnosed by a self-proclaimed exorcist, an engineer by profession, to be possessed by a jinn. The method that he used for diagnosis is the lengthening of the cloth of the shirt she had worn overnight. I'm greatly concerned. I would like to ask you the following. Question 1. Is this method in accordance with the Quran and the Sunnah? Question 2. What are the prescribed ways of exorcising? Question 3. How does one find out after treatment that the jinn has been exorcised? And question 4. Methods of prevention of repossession. I would greatly appreciate an urgent reply. Wassalam." The issue of determining who is possessed, or that a person is possessed by a jinn, etc. First and foremost, and as Dr. Ahmed Khan has mentioned here, the book, The Exorcist Tradition in Islam, is an extensive research which I've done for my PhD dissertation, which analyzed the issue of exorcism from an Islamic perspective, compared it to that in Christianity and Christian tradition, in the medical fields, compared it with medical knowledge, modern medical knowledge, and their analyses of what could be construed as possession, etc. In it, I pointed out and identified what, in fact, is the method, the Quranic method, or the Sunnah method of determining possession. First and foremost, from the text of the Quran and the Sunnah, we realize that not every case that a person exhibits abnormal behavior should be automatically assumed to be a product of jinn possession, spirit possessing of the individual. We shouldn't just automatically assume that. In fact, we should explore the medical possibilities of dealing with the situation, and having failed that, then we can start to look very seriously at the possibility of spirit possession. Of course, this does not mean that if a person exhibits some type of behavior, that one may not use, Quranic, Islamic methodologies for treating such a person, which involves recitation of Quran, etc. We may do this anyway, along with looking at medical means of treating the individual. But we don't automatically assume that whatever is wrong with a person is from the world of the jinn, the spirit world. Okay? First and foremost. Secondly, this method of lengthening of cloth, and I did mention this in the appendix of my thesis, that in different countries people had different methods of determining, and among them some were saying you give the person a string, or you measure the person's clothing. If it increases in length, of course this is nonsense. This is nonsense. This may be a way by which it's become traditionally a way by which people, who are involved in this process of exercising, can convince others that yes, the person is possessed, and in treating them, they feel that yes, since the person knew that they were possessed and knew what possessed them, they would be able to cure them. Because we have to remember that there's a certain element in treatment of patients which goes back to the body's ability to heal itself. psychologically, physiologically, biologically. This is why whenever a drug company, for example, wants to check out a new drug on the market, what it does these clinical tests. They will get, for example, 10, 20 patients. 10, they will give the actual tablets with the drug, and the other 10, they will give them sugar tablets, telling them that it's the tablets with the drug. Now, if, this is called a placebo, now if they find, for example, that those who took the sugar pill, 30-40% of them got better, and those who took the actual medicine, 30-40% of them got better, this is proof that the medicine is of no value. If the medicine, those who took the medication, true medication, 80% got better, those who took the placebo, 20-30% got better, then this is acceptable, because it is known that part of the healing is the trust that the patient has with the doctor. The doctor is telling him, I'm giving you the medicine, but in fact it's sugar pills. The person believes in the doctor knows, etc., etc., so they take the sugar pills, they get better. Similarly, this individual, he wants to convince these people, the person who's not really possessed, you know, they're just having some kind of psychological disorder or whatever. They believe this person has the ability, where he makes a measurement, he shows them, hey, your cloth has lengthened, you know, this means you are possessed by a jinni. Anywhere I'm going to do this, and it's going to cause the jinni to come out. And of course, they may do things that say, okay, we're going to tie strings around your fingers, around your toes, so that the jinni can't run out where it shouldn't run. And we're going to chase it up through your hair. And when it comes out of your hair, we're going to take the hair, cut off a piece of the hair. We've caught the jinni in the hair, we put him inside of a bottle, and we burn up the bottle. The jinni has been burnt. And the person feels relieved, you know, that before they were having these other anxiety attacks or whatever, anything else, you know, disorder, and then after going through this process, they feel this thing is actually leaving them in the hair, and they feel relieved. And of course, this person who has been cured by this methodology, you know, is going to spread the news. The family, everything, so-and-so was able to cure this person. So the person becomes very famous as an exorcist. But in fact, they didn't do anything. It was all psychological. So, this kind of methodology, we know, is actually false. It has no foundation in the Quran and the Sunnah, and it's just a part of a psychological ploy used by those who claim to exercise, to give a sense of confidence to the patients who they treat. So if a person is in fact, you know, has got some kind of psychological illness or whatever, you know, they can get over it. This gives them a kind of confidence and surety which helps them to get over the problem. Now, the prescribed ways of exercising, Prophet ﷺ, you know, has exercised by calling on the being that is inside of the person, telling it to get out by the name of Allah, asking Allah's curse to be on that being, that is the being which is inhabiting the person. The Sahaba, his companions, used the Quran with his approval. They recited, for example, Surah Al-Fatiha over an individual who was possessed in the morning and in the evening for some 7 days. And following that, you know, after each recitation, they would blow like this, you know, which is sort of partly blowing, partly spitting, you know, it's called nafas, at the end of each of the recitations. And afterwards, the person was cured. The Prophet ﷺ confirmed this. He also gave different verses of the Quran which was used, we know, Ayatul Kursi, to be recited over people possessed. The Surah Al-Baqarah, you know, drives out the jinn. We also know that the Mu'awwadhatan, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, this was also revealed to help deal with these kind of things. And a person who was possessed, we were told to recite this over them. So these are among the various ways. We also have the question, how does one find out after treatment that the jinn has been exorcised? Well, you know, one can only assume that if the person, you know, was suffering before and after following the Quranic methodology, the person is better, that it has been successful. It doesn't mean that a person may not, again, become subject, but I would say that, whenever looking at a case where a person appears to be possessed and one is going to treat the case, one has to look also at the environment that the person is in. If the person is in the kind of environment which invites the jinn and invites evil in their homes, they have pictures on the walls, pictures all over the place, statues, and they're, watching corrupt movies. They've, got, all kinds of corruption in their home, listening to music. Music is the poetry of Satan. These type of things, have to have an environment like that, a satanic environment in the home, and then wonder why is one possessed. This is, it speaks for itself. So when one is going to deal with these type of circumstances, one should also purify the home. The environment that the individual is going to be in should be purified. And in that way, it also helps to prevent, repossession of the individual. And then again, Prophet ﷺ has prescribed a variety of different supplications that one does from the time one goes to bed at night to the time one gets up in the morning, throughout the day, a variety of different things to say, aimed at protecting oneself from evil forces in the world around us, whether from the spirit world or from the human world. The du'as, supplications to say before eating, going to the bathroom, putting on clothes, looking in oneself in the mirror. A good thing to do is get a book. You have a book, for example, Fortification, which is an authentic collection of prayers of the Prophet, supplications of the Prophet, may God's peace be upon him, which one can use